Check 1 2 1 2 1. Hello, everybody. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Because that's as loud as this is gonna go, and I can't make it go louder out. Can I? Hang on. Check it out. Check 1 2. 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 Perfect. That's perfect right there. Check 1 2. Yeah, because I ran it through the mic so we can pull mic control. Nope. So as long as we're below red, that'll just start right there. Check 1 2. Down, and that's like a loud voice. And then here, or click audio 1 is set to HDMI. We don't want that. Click on that just for a second. Yeah, check 1 2. Like, yeah, that's it. Good. Good level. 1 2 1 2. 1 2. It's still peaking out there. 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. No headphones. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Drive up your headphones. Check 1 2. That's headphones. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Hello. Test. Testing. Chief just arrived, so if you want to come and take your seat, please. We've asked Sandy to say the prayer for us, please.
We thank you for the gathering of our peoples in this room tonight. And we also thank you for our leadership, the Chief and Council, who have gathered here to present their work with us so that we could work together as a community and that we could come to decisions and just to work that in the betterment of all of us people who live off the reserve and in the urban communities. We pray that you work through each and every one of us so that whatever information is to be submitted or presented today will be done in honor and glory and in joy, according to your will and according to that of the leadership. And I just pray that you bless all the members of Cold Lake First Nations, as well as our leadership and all the workers. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
I had it on the mic too. Bless you, Joe.
Oh. I didn't want to scare you.
So we don't have a chair, but we kind of have an agenda just for ideas. But if there's anything particular that you want to talk about, anything you want to ask us, we're open to that, so feel free. I'll just introduce myself. I'm Gina Russell, counselor. My father is Frank Charlin. My mother is Sarah Charlin. And their parents were Leonie and Francis Charlin and Daniel and Philemon Pichet.
George Machanis, counselor.
Hi, welcome, Chief Roger Martin.
Councillor Kelsey Jocko.
My name is Dion Blackman. Thank you guys for all showing up today. Appreciate it.
Councillor Bernice Marshall.
So would anybody like to get started? For us, we just came from a meeting this morning, so good news is we met with 4 bands, Onion Lake, Coal Lake, Kihewin, and Frog Lake on a possible Haylands claim. There would be some input from the elders, so if any of you all know, like from the Hayland claims that was initiated back, I believe, in when the treaties were signed, 1876. But before that, there was a Haylands claim. It has something to do with Reserve 1, because we're 123, I believe. It was 123, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
123A.
123A in our area around what was established as now as Fort Kent area and all that. That was promised to Onion Lake as to the 4 nations to have haylands and for cows and stuff. That was taken away. So now Onion Lake had filed a claim, and we knew about it, and we just kind of knew about it, but nothing was really done. No action was taken. So with the other chiefs and all that, they discussed about that today, about possibly moving forward. So what it'll entail in that claim would be up to anywhere from 0 to $150 million, I think, per nation. That's something that was entitled for that would encumber the loss of land, loss of resources, loss of revenue for the cows and stuff like that. So what? Livelihood. So that was something that was very interesting today that was brought up. Moving forward, they would like to have the elders put their input on what they know of what was part of the, where, just on the other side of the reserve boundaries. Yeah, on the west side, yes. On the west side of the First Nations, yes. And all that area. So that was something that we've been working on. I know the big issue here is housing. That was another one that was brought up. We're currently working with Synovus as part of that and housing initiative. With Synovus Energy, they came forth. They saw the need for it with the 5 bands that were surrounded in their traditional territory. They saw the need for housing, and the government wasn't really doing their fiduciary agreement. So the president, Alex, took the initiative to visit each community himself, and he went around to see the needs of the community. That being said, they committed to X amount of, I think it was $50 million over the next 10 years or 5 years, 5 years. And to build homes. So this year, with the COVID and timelines and all that, we had to build like in a town site. So it was their dollars that was put forth and the timelines. So we didn't have enough the luxury of going around to build our own houses. So we just outsourced them to we put out a bid for them. If any of the nation members that are here want to go to work in Cold Lake, there is opportunity there for the plumbing construction of these homes. That was one of the stipulations that we put into the contracts to make sure that our people are being utilized, not just give this money out and nothing comes back to the nation kind of deal. We got 5 homes. We're currently they're being built in a town site, and we managed to get enough money through INAC to build 6 more homes. So in total, there'll be 11 homes built this year. Next year, we're looking at building our own RTM factory, RTM business, so our homes could be built right on the nation, by nation members, for nation members, and so on, and even to outsource if the other nations want to buy our homes. That's one thing that we're looking at. There are going to be homes built for the next 5 years. I don't know what the cost will encumber, but we're doing the best we can to get the best value for our dollar and stuff like that. Okay. And we have another, we met with TCV on an initiative that we're in. They're looking at off-reserve affordable homes for people that live in the city, and they're also looking at buying into an elders lodge. There's one in the city here, but we're thinking on maybe land-wise. We have land that is purchased through Primco in Cold Lake that might be utilized. There's also land that they own in Lac La Biche. So that being said, TCB was really interested in working with, maybe looking at those alternatives to build them in the city of Cold Lake on our lands, or in Lac La Biche, or they might be looking at some in Edmonton, I'm not sure, but that'll be involved with all like the TCB, the treaties, Tribal Chief Ventures who we're in with. So that's one thing that we're excited about, but that's still a ways away. Anything else? Any questions?
I'll just add on to the Haylands. Part of our ask to the government will be the land that we presently own that was once Sampson lands. That's right across my house in Cold Lake North. There's, I don't know how many acres there are, but it's a vast amount. We're asking, one of our asks will be that all that land be turned into reserve land. So it looks, of course, it's Morris Law who have been taking over these haylands for years, and so it's come to the point where they're going to put it through to a tribunal, and that's where the people, if you have stories, if your grandparents told you stories, we need to identify who they are, because the oral history is what's going to make us win our case. We have a really good chance at doing that. In the same sentence, we have to work with Frog Lake and the other nations that Chief Roger had mentioned, because it's a total of 17,000 square feet, square miles, square whatever, square something. Okay? And so, acres maybe? And so everybody wants a piece of the pie, and they're saying each nation can get up to 150 million, but we already own our own land through that Samson deal, and so therefore that could be turned into reserve land, and it's really good prime property right in the north. And if that were the case, there's a huge gap of people that keep getting missed out whenever we allocate homes, and that's our elderly people, our people who have special needs or disabilities, and we have to start identifying those people. You live here in Edmonton, but every year INAC identifies you as a nation member. So what do you get out of it? Yeah. So we need to figure out how we could fill that gap, because it's the same people. I've only been there for a year, and this is my observation, that it's the same people who are getting the resources given to them over and over and over. And I'm not sure of the demographics, but there's a lot of urban people, not only here in Edmonton, but in Calgary, Vancouver. We even have family in Scotland. So how can we make it fair for everybody is my point. But I think we have to really kind of look outside the box, because we need fairness all across. And I've never been gifted a house, but I couldn't imagine what I would do if I was given one. But in saying that, we have a lot of homeless people as well, and Kelsey always reminds us that there are many homeless people who are living on the streets. So we have a lot of social issues, and we're limited on the funds that ISK gives to us. So collectively on this table, we all work and strive to see where can we find dollars. And so I want to talk about the cows and plows. It took 25 years for Treaty 8 to get those dollars. Treaty 6, we've been told just before COVID happened that we would bankrupt the government, which is untrue, because we have a lot of dollars with the resource. And so I could just ramble on, but I'll let my colleagues say something.
Yeah, I just want to add on to this. I know maybe you have a question first.
Yep.
My name is Farron Atkinson. I have a question. Okay, with all this housing stuff that's going on in the nation, what I was thinking, instead of building separate houses, but I know you guys are looking at building your own houses and shit, but the other thing was, what about building apartment buildings on the land to house more than just,
Yes.
one family?
This is something about the Affordable Housing Initiative, to open up the lands in Cold Lake, in Edmonton, or maybe in Bonneville, to team up with the other nations, because, rent's pretty high out there. So, we're looking at that, to get housing, maybe it'll be a good ideal for people that want a house to stay in these places, to see how they look after them. But we're looking into that option too, because, we're in a housing crisis like before. We need like 300 houses today, not tomorrow, right? And, yeah. But I just wanted to add on to this hate claims in cows and plows. They're both separate cases, and we need some elders to talk at the tribunal. So if we have, got to get our elders together, but it's kind of scary with this COVID, and then we got to recognize 3 people that will speak at the tribunal. And yeah, then Lena?
Yes, my question to you is, if you could help the people of the urban areas, if you guys could even give few dollars per month, since we're head counted for all the, every year, I think some of this should go towards us people, urban, all over. A little bit would help to pay their rents and stuff like that. Although they help us seniors with the power and gas and stuff like that, but I think that that should be looked at. Look at all these kids and that. There's a lot of kids living in one home and families living in one home. So this will be, I think myself, would be very good for the people.
I think that's a great idea. With us, we're looking at our businesses to try to get more accountability to the people and to Chief and Council as well. We're currently looking into some of the financial situations of some of our businesses. And yeah, well, I'd like to get that information for you as well. And with us, with work coming up like that with our companies, the more that's happening right now, as we sit right now, there is work coming up shortly down the pipeline, so to speak. There's a pipeline going through our traditional territory. We're bidding on it, so if we get the work, that's more revenue back to the nation. I don't have a problem with the people seeing the finances or whatever. Transparency right across, that's what we want to see.
Oh, there's somebody behind you. Sorry.
And there is going to be a Christmas distribution this year with the financial difficulties. We're going to manage to have it.
Okay, my name is Summer Grambois, and born and raised in Edmonton. I don't know if I think I met some of you, but I'm just here to, again, we had a meeting in Cold Lake, and you were there, and maybe just to educate a little bit of what, like, you know, our past and stuff. And again, I don't have my grandma, Rosie Grambois. Jay Grambois is my grandparents. Lorna Grambois is my mom. She passed away. So I've been to YTC and trying to get educated on our side. I've been to the NRTA meeting that they had at River Cree last week, and Janice Swiftlow was there. And everything that I learned at YTC, she agrees with. And what I want to say is that when Europeans first came here, they came in a boat. They didn't have anything. Everything that is here, from the lights to this building, it all came from this land. So when we talk about, what do you call, cows and plows or hay or whatever, it's all of ours. We own it. When I was at this meeting, Janice said that in order to step up above the government is to get away from the whole Cold Lake, because that's INAC, and go with Dene Sutne, sorry, and bring back our own laws and our traditions, because our side of the treaty has never been interpreted. So when I was there, I met a young chief from Manitoba, and the chief halted the railway system that went through his territory, and now CN gives him so much money, and he puts that towards his housing. When they were clear-cutting on his territory, he halted that. He asked the guy who was from London, England, I believe it was London, England, somewhere over there anyhow in Europe, he came here and had a meeting with that First Nation, right? And then they made a agreement where it wouldn't cut in with the government. Like, I don't understand how come, maybe because we're educated to adopt Indian Act and go Section 35 and all that, but if we stand up as Dene Sutane and interpret our side of the treaty, we have a lot more say. And being raised in an urban area, and every day, like, I see these young kids, I see parents who can't even father their kids or mother their kids anymore, right? And we always talk about home, and everyone's going to go back home and housing and everything. But here, we should have a home for our elders, that has some kind of connection to an orphanage, because a long time ago, again, we had the old people to teach the young people, right? So what I'm saying is that it would be nice if we could step away from that Indian Act, because we have the right to. It is our right. We're inherent rights there. And it would be nice if maybe, you know, we can reach out to, again, the First Nation in Manitoba who's already doing it, you know, and and get the money right directly from the government that doesn't go through INAC. Like, I don't know what we're doing now, but I wanted to share that. And I want people to understand, you know, that we are protected by our treaties, but it is the educated ones that are going to sell us out, and it's our own people. And again, I'm gonna just touch on the 5 nations that went ahead with the power plant, I believe it is. We own those resources. Why are they saying yes to $93 million loan? We own those resources. That's ours. They have to pay us to pull that out of the ground. Like, I don't understand what we're doing here. Like, and again, this is like, I was here in these meetings when sorry, I forget her name, but she's my grandma, and she was chief. And we're still today. We're not anywhere near where we should be. And me as a young, you know, a future, Dene Sultane, I would like to see this because my kids are not going to have treaty. Their kids are not going to have treaty. And again, it's our own people selling us out because we're doing the Indian Act. Thank you.
I'd like to respond to that. That's a really good point. So just bear in mind that we, Cold Lake First Nations, is the only nation in Canada today who has a federal school. And in saying that, we're keeping our heels dug in because we've all been told never take over any of your programming. And therefore, we're keeping the federal government, CERNAC, not ISK. ISK takes care of the Indian Act. We want to deal directly with CERNAC because we believe that they're infringing upon our treaties. Last week, we met with the Member of Parliament from our area, and I told him, you know, I don't know if you're aware, but they're offsetting all of their fiduciary responsibilities onto the province. I said, if they continue to do that, maybe one day we won't have Member of Parliaments and you'll be out of a job. Our bosses will be the provincial government. So what you're saying, Summer, I totally agree with you, because they're working on assimilating us and getting rid of all our rights and watering them down. And so therefore, we talk about that at the table, and the provincial government is talking about doing their own provincial police. Well, we're saying here, let's do our own police as well. So we have to start acting more like a sovereign nation, and then we could do exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, I just want to add on to that. You know, we had a treaty meeting there a couple weeks ago at Fort Pitt. You know, when you're talking about treaty, Canada never ever gave us what's rightfully ours, you know. Canada was built on our monies, you know. And they're calling for a meeting here at Enoch in November to talk about unification, you know. You know, they talked about Bill 1. You know, you can get arrested just for protesting, just for hiking, you know. So if we all get on the same page, you know, and fight the bigger battle, you know, and fight for what's rightfully ours, you know, and you guys are welcome to attend too, you know, just not us, it's the grassroots people, because when you're talking about treaty, it affects us all.
Denise? Yes.
The other issue is that we could kind of...
No.
Yeah, we are live stream.
So how many in here don't want to be live streamed?
Make a motion to it.
You don't need to make a motion.
Don't want to.
Yeah. So when they're speaking, then just shut it off.
Well, I know I was contacted earlier, somebody couldn't get a babysitter for her little ones.
There will be some there will be some elders meetings coming up we're gonna start working on our, like you said, with our governance and membership codes and stuff like that. So that's what we like to get started. It all falls back to what you said about, independence and, being on our own. How could we do that when we don't even have our membership code, our governance and stuff like that? And George had brought it up years ago, and that's what we've been trying to get to that point. But we need the elders' help to identify our old ways, Yanissi, who we are, where we come from.
And that goes back to what Summer was talking about. We need to identify who our people are, because right now, the ISK is identifying who our people are, and we already know they did a bad job in the beginning when they took our women's rights away and gave non-Indigenous women rights to be Indians today. And so we have to fix that. And the only way we're going to do that is collectively together, because some of us in here are grandparents. We know who our children are. And I think this has been a contentious issue. When I was 18, my first band meeting that I went to, I just turned 60, and we're still arguing about it, and we'll continue to argue about it until we do something about it. So to answer your question, Farron, I would like to be here once a month or even more so that we can figure out who are we going to say, how are we going to identify our membership. We're not horses or dogs where in the States they want your blood quantum. That's an insult. And we have to let the US know that, because if you wanted to go fair and live in the States, you'd have to get a letter from the Chief of Council saying what your blood quantum is. And that's an insult there in itself. That would be, we could work towards that we have our own status cards. That's part of being a sovereign nation.
Now you want to hold it for me? Okay, I just wanted to know about housing. Go backwards here. I had my name in for a house like 20 years now. And, I put an application every year and try to get in every month. And I'd like to know how you guys pick people that have been for houses. I mean, I know you guys are just here 1 year, but even previous, like how are the people getting picked out of a hat, or I don't know.
On that one there, I think last time there was some recommendations made, but there was nothing was really picked, and then there was a motion made, and they went with the names that was just made as a recommendation. But moving forward, I would like to see a committee being formed with the elders and the people that already have a voice, and everybody gets a fair shake. Because I don't want to be the one picking the homes. I would be the one, my job and responsibility is to make sure there is money available and there's homes to be built. As to giving them away, that'll be up to the people on a need basis. That's what I would like to see personally.
And it goes back to our membership once again, because we all know who our grandfathers were, our grandmothers, and way Yanissi, back in the day, they used to go, and this was our family members, and they still kind of do it today. When you look at the families that live all in close proximity to each other. So we know who our clans are. We know who our people are. And that's going to be really important when we come and decide who our membership is. And I think if we were going back to the clan system, then our own clans could determine who in their family they would recommend for a house. Because I tell you what's going on right now. We have 30 homes identified in Cold Lake that the houses are trashed. And that is totally wrong. And I can't speak for what happened in the past, how people got homes, but it's just readily available. You just have to drive around and take a look at those homes. They're in sad state of affairs. And so now, because they're band-owned houses, those houses are brought forward to us. Well, now you have to fix them, you know, and it just continues.
Yeah, we're in a deficit when they talk about homes, renovations. We need over $1 million to fix some of these homes, you know, and if somebody wants to come back home and fix up one of these homes, I'll support that, because we have some homes that's sitting there, but that's just an option.
And they're in a dire of straits, you know, and they need guidance. Like, when I was a teenager, I wasn't living with my family. I was living in Le Goff. I was raised by Eva Jambier, you know. She made me who I am today. And I'm proud of it. And I would like a home so my nieces, my nephews, I could teach them what I know. I could teach them how to go out there and chop wood, bring it back and, you know, saw it and chop it up, and live off the land.
So-
There's a whole bunch of us in here that do know how to live off the land, and we're proud.
I just wanted to add about the housing initiative there, but like what Chief said there was, you know, creating that housing committee. You know, maybe there's even opportunity for the folks here to be a part of that committee. You know, one of the things we're looking at doing is creating like a factory line of our own homes, you know, where we're building them on a reserve. And this way, our band members are getting the opportunity to train, you know, to, you know, even the younger generation. They could become journeyman carpenters, electricians, plumbers, you know, possibly even truck driving to deliver the homes properly. You know, there could be opportunity for heavy equipment operators, you know, landscaping the areas. You know, there's all kinds of opportunity there, but the reason why we kind of look at this path is because what it does is it creates, I guess, you know, people to work on their own homes. You know, like you know, like a lot of times, like they're saying, you know, things fall apart. You know, your drywall, or, you know, let's say your shingles start to come off or whatever. You know, your neighbor could easily just go over to your house and help you. Like, that's how it used to be. Like when I sat with my grandma, you know, many times she would tell me that's how things used to be back in the past, was there was no reaching out on the outside world for them to come and help you. It was just in-house. We all just helped each other, and we want to try and get back to that way of life where we're our own people. You know, if you see your own people building a house and you see people standing up on the roof working together, you know, that's what we want to do, and it builds that pride within the community. And I guess that's what our goal is, to get to that level. And, you know, hopefully we can kick that off by next year. Hopefully this COVID-19 kind of simmers down by then, where we can kind of get going on that kind of stuff in the future.
I just want to go back to your comments, you know. It's nice that we look after our own, you know, but we need kinship homes for our kids too. We need a home for somewhere for our kids to go, because a lot of them are falling through the cracks, you know, and, you know, when they come of age, they struggle with it. So, you know, and you just got to be there for them. But I would like a home for some of these kids that are falling through the cracks.
Okay, glad to. My name is Nunea. My slave name is Carrie Lawrence. My biological parents are Margaret Piche and Father Kelvin Klein from the Elizabeth Settlement. I'm a grassroots organizer, advocate, mother, daughter, aunt, cousin, and now a grandmother, survivor. I would like to acknowledge that we are in Treaty 6 territory, home to the Blackfoot, Cree, Stoney, Dene, and Métis nations, and I am seventh generation here. To make you aware that my generation will be the one to make changes, and women are standing up everywhere. I'm here today to address my concerns that indicate the problems that exist within our community, the community of off-reserve members, and I am currently homeless, and I've been organizing under the Native Youth Movement umbrella that offers 24-hour support to high-risk youth and offenders. I have great concerns with the murdered and missing women. My sister's going missing, and we are without homes and protection. And I believe that the men have lost their ability to call themselves men because they are not protecting our women. It is I that have been standing up for a long time, and I want support now. From band council and my family members and everyone that think women should be protected and their families. And I have a lot of questions why Janvier got a house and she's a millionaire, and my sister has multiple barriers and had near-death experience, and she has like lots of kids and grandkids now. So I am gonna lose my granddaughter because I'm homeless, and I just have lots of concern to that, and I say no to this pipeline. I have Micmac and Secwepemc friends that are standing on their territories to uphold their inherent rights and protect their lands, and nobody from here is supporting them. So I have great concerns, and I say no to this pipeline, and that's it.
Thank you, Carrie. You identified a lot of questions in that, and I appreciate that. The one that stands out, and it goes back to what Kelsey said about having kinship homes. Yanissi, before residential school, our people lived in the trap line up in our homeland territory. They were self-sufficient, they had their own economy, they took care of their children. We've come a long way from that today. And we can blame a lot of stuff. We can blame the residential schools, the 60 scoop, the day school. We can blame. But we have that right. We are born with the treaty to education. And unless we use that tool, we're not going to move forward. So I encourage you to if you have children, where are your daughters and sons if they're not raising their children? In Dene, I understand. So going back, I was talking about our children and us not raising them. It's not your responsibility as a grandmother to raise your child. Somehow we've gotten to that point that it's okay and it's expected and it's become the norm. We want to lift up our children. We want them to work hard in school, to go and get an education so that they become self-sufficient. That's the utmost thing. And it goes right back to Yanissi when the people were up in Primrose Lake in Ahtwe. They worked hard. They had their own economy, they had homes, and they took care of one another. And we have to go back to that. We have to go right back to the basics. We have to figure out, where did we come from? What makes us strong? And where we are today and where we're going to see ourselves going tomorrow. That's the plan we have to make. And I'm not here to blame child welfare or any other organization, because they're all there because there's a need for them.
I'm not sure if you guys are aware that they are also the ones that house and family services. They're still predators.
Yeah. We know that. Our
You're very
people are
right
big
about-
business.
You're very right about a lot of
There's,
these things.
how many
like-
people, are taking care of our children today, raking in thousands of dollars, and our own people raising, George right here raises 2 children. He gets half of what he would if he had white skin and lived in town. Those are the injustices that are occurring right now today, and we are well aware of them, and they're being imposed upon us, just like other laws that they're doing to us. The stronger we get, the stronger we work together, the better off we'll be.
What pipeline are you talking about?
TMX. Okay.
TransCanada.
Can I
Trans
answer
Canada
some of
or
your
No,
questions?
or
the
Trans
TMX,
Mountain?
Yeah,
Trans
can I-
Mountain.
Can I answer some of your questions there, Carrie? Can I speak to you from my heart? You know? Come back home. Your mom has a room there waiting for you. You know, our young need help. You know, and about this Trans Mountain pipeline, you know, we're in little Fort McMurray. Everything's already built. You know, even if we fight it, we're gonna be involved some way or another, because the oil is in the ground. So, yeah, yes. 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 Yes, I totally agree with you, because, you know, we got to diversify our companies. But
And
you
we're-
know what, with these abandoned wells and everything, they got to start cleaning them up, you know? Even when we fought all this oil before, everything already got built, you know?
And we're here to talk about Cold Lake First Nations. I think we clean up our own backyard before we start telling other people how to clean up their backyard. So if we can move on, Grace has had her hand up.
Okay,
Good afternoon.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to get back to the membership. You're talking about the membership code. Too close. I have a grandson that's registered in Louisville, and I think I talked to a few of the counselors before and the chief before, and I wanted to get him registered in Cold Lake. Like his mother tried, like, I know she tried a lot to try to get that kid back to Cold Lake First Nations, and I want that kid, his membership transferred over to Cold Lake First Nations. And he's from Louisville, and you know what? They don't even give him no funds, nothing. It's just ridiculous how they treat their people.
And that goes back to what Summer was talking about creating our own membership. Right now, we follow ISC, Indigenous Service Canada. I always like to call them INAC. That's their rules. You can only belong to one reserve, therefore you have to transfer.
we want
I
to
call
transfer.
I call that bull. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But why, if they want to play that game, we got to learn to play that game as well.
Well, we wanna
He's
try to get
registered
that-
there,
We
so
want to
be
try to
it.
get that boy
Yeah.
over to Cold Lake First
So-
Nations immediately.
This is just my personal point. We know who our kids are. That boy comes and says, Tsone, to you. He's from Cold Lake. He could prove his lineage. Our rules don't apply with
Yeah.
INAC.
Yeah.
We'll determine who our children are. And therefore, we all walk to INAC and tell them enough is enough. No longer will you tell us who our
Yeah.
children can and cannot be,
Yeah.
and we will determine where they come from. If
Uh,
they come from Denisuchline, then that's where they come from.
Another question I'd like to bring up is you know, you have the survival camps or whatever culture camps you have over there in Cold Lake. Why don't you bring people from here over there? Put them up in a hotel room, whatever, you know? There's people over here kids that want to know how to, you know, do things out there. I mean, I'm sure it's our responsibility, but at least, you know, we can get you guys on board to get these kids going.
I
Even
think-
some young adults don't know nothing.
As
That's
soon
a
as we
great
know,
idea.
as soon as we know who wants to come down, that's the place to go, absolutely.
Put some money together, get some people on bus or whatever, bring them down. I could take some people down
Absolutely.
myself, you know. But it's all Cold Lake. It's all the little, the reserves over there. Nobody from the city gets these things. Nobody.
Lands and Resources are piloting a project right now, so they want you to be drug and alcohol free, but you'll go live on the land up north in 149C where they have the cabins, and in Primrose Lake where they have another cabin. And they want you to go there, live off the land, learn all of the culture, and also the big emphasis is on getting mental health therapy, which is lacking. So. And that one is ran by Linda Manous, and that's her program. And if you want to see any changes to that, I recommend that you see Charles. He's way in the back, and tell him exactly what you want to hear. Because the dollars that she gets, from the cultural camp, she counts you. You are entitled to every bit of that as well. So if it means busing kids, we've got transportation with Primco.
Hello, hi. I'm Miranda Jacko. I think I know most of you. I just have a couple of quick questions. First of all, I want to thank you all very much for taking the time to come out here. It would be nice to see, like, if we can do this on a regular basis. Yeah, one of my questions too was about membership too, because my son, who do I direct that to? Because he's 33 and he's from Manitoba band. So is there a specific person that I ask about that?
We've been asking people who want their kids to be registered to collectively send them to the nation.
Okay.
And that be the heading registration.
Okay.
Because when the membership comes up, we're going to have to identify that. All
Okay.
of us will be deciding that,
And do
not
they-
just one person.
Do they need permission from their band as well
Yeah.
to
No.
transfer?
Yes, you gotta get a release letter. And then
Okay.
gotta bring
I
it to
wouldn't
us.
even worry about that because that's playing INAC's games.
Okay, and just one more question with regard to housing. What is the protocol when, like, you know that my brothers have passed away, and is it the next person, like the oldest person to get the house? Because my younger brother Sherwin was sort of pushed out of our house. That was like when all my brothers, like I'm the oldest now, so how does that actually like go? Like who has say to who? Because that's a brand new house and it's in really good condition, and my niece lives there, or her daughter lives there. So wouldn't I be entitled to that house, or?
Unless you have a will. Now, today, one of the policies are that, say the house that I live in, it was my mom's house. So I've put it on to one of my son's name. And so as soon as
'Cause
it's
this
signed
was
over
my
to my...
dad's house,
Yeah,
so-
so I'm just giving you an analogy. So as
Okay.
soon as I sign it over to my son, he in turn has to sign it over to the next person. And
Okay.
those protocols weren't in place when,
But if they
when your
pass
brother
away,
passed.
like, yeah.
So, so those are coming back to our housing policies,
Okay.
and that you as a membership should have input as well.
Okay.
We ran into
Thanks
that
again.
situation quite a bit when it comes to ancestral lands, entitlement of who lives there, because a lot of people moved off, but they want to come back, and we would like to bring them back. But again, like what I said, it comes with the elders on their discretion of how that was in place. From my understanding, it always went to the oldest son, and then there was some issues over there with the oldest one in the family or whatever. I don't know. That's just what my dad told me or whatever. I don't know. But again, I like to get the elders' input on that one because we ran into this situation more often than you think about that. Yes.
And I think those decisions made goes back to our Christianity and how things were put on us paternally so that the male son gets it. And when in reality, we are maternal family, and I think the women rule, and that we should always be heard. Is that where Dougie and Annie live? And Carol? Aren't they Scannies?
But,
Well, Blackmans were always in the back.
but that's,
Charlie Blackman was always in the back.
That was fenced off.
but that's something that has to be talked about, because say if we got 100 houses tomorrow, where are we gonna put them, you know? Because we're having a hard time building houses right now. You know, like everybody thinks they own the land, but we own it all as a whole. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we brought one of the members. She was a 60 scoop lady, and she's couldn't come move back, and she's happy to get a house. And if we can build more houses for the off reserve members, and you know, not all members want to move home, but you know, if the members want to move home, there should be opportunity for you guys.
So I
Hello.
just
My
wanted to
name-
add something to what he was saying, you know, oh, sorry, go ahead.
My name is Ann Dobson. I'm a professional social worker, and I work with the RCMPs, and I work with the Department of Social Services for about 8 years. And I want to go back to the RCMP. We call them when we are on standby. And I only apprehended once, and I made a record of it. And that record, they're studying in the universities and colleges of how to make reports. And I noticed that most of those children that were apprehended were Métis or Native. And I apprehended 5 little Native children. But I had a friend in Kihiwi. She's Native, so I brought the kids over there. I started standby from 2:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock. I came back to the office. I told my supervisor. He said, go back, have a couple of hours sleep, and come back. And from there, I started getting to feel racism. And a pile, I was doing handicapped children's services, a pile came on my desk, and the managers from Laklabish came. Says, how come these parents, these families are going to Edmonton for 14, 15 days a year, so much a month? I says, I don't know. I says, that's the way it was written. But they kept pressuring me, and I was going to cry, and I thought I caught on. So I thought, no, you're not going to get me. I just sat. I took my own time. I told him, I says, that's the way it was. I'm not changing anything until anybody tells me.
My dad's sister.
So I did. They gave me 1 month. I did the whole 40 cases, and I got a letter from the boss. Well done. And that was racism right there. But I could feel it.
Yeah.
And with the RCMP, the ones I worked with, they were understanding. But I believe now that social services and RCMP, the two policies should work together and not be separate, where one is the antagonizer and the other one is a helper. But they should work together so they understand what is going on, not shooting people like one of our members have been shot. And I believe that these people should be educated in the values and cultural traditions of the Native people and be more compassionate, just like the Black people are doing in the South. They have, what do they have to stand on? Nothing. Just like Alex Taylor, or the one that wrote Roots, he come to Blue Quilts and he says, you natives are just like us. He says, we were put on plantations, you people were put on reserves. And that's the way they had colonized us. So if there's anything to do with these policies, I know I've worked with the departments and I'd like to have my input. So if you need me or anything, ask me and I'll be there. I am willing and able to assist my people because I know both sides of policies and procedures. So that way, at least we'll come to an understanding and accepting what happens.
Yeah.
Instead of arguing. By arguing, you start fighting, and that's it.
Thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank
And,
you.
Lena has some questions here. And then you have to go, Lena.
Can I just comment on Ann's little questions there? You know, Bill 92, taking jurisdiction over our own kids, you know. No money's attached. How's it going to be looked at? So this is what we're talking at tribal chiefs level. You know, one of our own is hired there, Shauna Cutt. So we're trying to work on something about that because, you know, our kids are falling through the cracks and something's better. It has to be better than what it is right now. You know, like a lot of our people don't have money to go to courts to fight for their own kids. You know, and we can revisit any case. But this, if we had more meetings, I wouldn't mind taking to one of these meetings, and Masi.
I wouldn't mind if you'd include me in the social services department. And I know the laws also. I worked with them for about 10 years, maybe more. And I also work with the homeless. I have ideas regarding that. So, that's all.
Hello, my name is Monica Janvier. Thanks to all of you guys for coming out and sitting here with us. I have actually quite a few questions, but I know they won't all be answered. My first question is there any possibility for a community garden? My second question is, what are your thoughts on the banishment in Onion Lake? And then, is there any talks about an urban office for our members? And is it possible that there be off-reserve counselors? Because 50% of our members live off-reserve. So I don't see why there should be at least 2 counselors off-reserve who can assist with these people on a regular basis, on a daily basis. And then it would help other members be more included, I guess. And then my last question is someone allowed to have a piece of land and have their own mortgage? Yes, in Cold Lake on the Nation. If I was to get a piece of land, but have my own mortgage, build my own house with my own funds, but just have a piece of land. Thank you.
I can answer about the food garden. That can absolutely happen. That's a small facet of a larger thing that I'm trying to initiate, essentially a food security initiative for our reserve and surrounding nations. Because right now, as the way things are, everybody needs assistance in many different forms. Housing, social assistance, things like that. But in my mind, the number one quality of life factor that a lot of people are missing is a full belly of food at the end of every night. Not everybody gets that. If you're in a home and you have these things, it makes your day just that much easier. And a food garden would absolutely supplement into a larger program which can feed our people. Like, that program can also have things like sending people out for hunting, fishing, picking berries, and not only with our nation, trading with others, because we have resources on our nation that that other nation can't get. We have a huge lake, right? We can fish, and we have land for moose, and there's medicines and things like that we can also trade and acquire. But for the garden, that is absolutely possible. Yes, that's a goal. Absolutely. Like the co-op model, essentially, right? You trade your time and you get food. That's the way it should be, where you do the work and you get something in return. The current systems right now that are only about giving and with no expectation of coming back, that is the thing that puts us in a bind, because it doesn't teach us anything. It doesn't teach us how to go and get that for ourselves once that is finished. If we have a garden, it'll teach people that sense of accomplishment, and it'll also feed them at the same time. Yes?
We can revisit that again. We had a community garden in eBay. Volunteers are needed. Weeds took over the garden. Certainly we can revisit that, and certainly we can break some of this land. Grow our own potatoes, have potatoes all year round.
And on the housing issue, that could be brought back to, again, the housing committee. If it was formed, that will fall under like a ministerial guarantee, where you would be willing to buy your house, but the nation will have to, per se, co-sign that loan for whatever reason, that you can make the payments on it. That was something that I would like to see the housing committee kind of look into that option too.
And there have been ministerial guarantees in the past, so precedent has been set. Because who's going to take care of their home the best? You are, because you're paying for it. Like I've said, we have 30 homes in Cold Lake First Nations that have been trashed and treated like shit. Exactly.
It needs to be taught. Like, there actually needs to physically have someone there who has the knowledge of how to just fix a hole in the wall, take the door off, like those basic necessities.
The onus falls on the homeowner.
Yep, for
And
sure.
nowadays you can Google it.
Yep.
Okay, Monica, you asked a bunch of questions there, but I want to touch on your Onion Lake banishing 32 people. No, when you talk about drugs, it affects us too, you know, because those people are pushed over in our territory. You know, we're having deaths in our community. It's unnecessary. You know, maybe security is a good idea to put up, you know, to deteriorate the drug dealers. A lot of our people are getting lost in this meth. They're not acting right. You know, you talk about treatment. You need 1 month is not going to fix it. They need ongoing care in these 6 months. And then when you send a person to treatment, it costs a lot of money, $8,000 a month. So there should be a different way. You know, and Bonneville, they got rejected for a treatment center. We really need one in our area really bad. You know, and you can't give up on these people. You know, they're still our people.
And they've also wrecked houses at the cost of $200,000. So who are we going to take care of, really, in reality? We have people that come to us and say, oh, I'll just say, this is my 10th kid, I need a house. Okay, have you worked? What have you done to make it so that you can get a home? We got to start asking those hard questions. That's what the housing committee has to do. Ask those hard questions.
That's why I said when the elders have a meeting and they work together with the committee, or when, like I said, we want to start working with the elders, we need your direction. If you guys tell us, get rid of them, I don't have a problem doing it. You know, just, it's our community. I work for you guys. So you guys tell me what to do. I'll do it. I don't.
And then we have to take a look, like I said earlier, we got to clean up our own backyard. If I'm protecting my adult children, if I see they're doing wrong and doing drugs, high-speed chases, and I do and say nothing about it, I'm part of the problem. If I see my child choosing addictions over caring for their children, I'm part of the problem if I don't do anything about it. That's what I mean about taking care of our own families and doing it. We got to take the onus. We got to stop blaming everything. Okay, I think we're getting off. Other people have other questions? So, other people have other questions. Well, those are some of the solutions, and I hear what you say. I've taken notes of all the questions that you wrote down. So we have to, you're not the only person here. You're not the only person here. I'm just saying we want Lena to speak.
Okay. We're stuck in one here, so I was wondering if we can talk about the schooling of the students, like, you know, for the kids that are, that go to school in case we have another wave coming in, to give them all families that have to stay home, teach their kids tablets so they can be at home with them. They need that for sure. There's lots of people that don't have that. Computers.
My kids are at home online schooling, and they're in public schools. Apparently last year, Catholic schools, they were all given, because they were donated laptops. So they were donated Chromebooks last year, but public schools had to give them back. So this year, when I said my kids will be at home online, I didn't have no tablets, no nothing for them. I had one laptop. So I phoned Edmonton Public School Board, talked to FNMI, and she has yet to get back to me. I never heard from her again. But I told her, I said, for every child that's in Edmonton, that school gets an extra $800. So where is that money going to, seeing how my kids are not in that school? That's $2,100. And next thing you know, that was a Friday. Monday, the school called me, told me to come pick up 2 Chromebooks.
A lot of people they don't know about this, all this thing that's going on. The urban area people don't know about this.
And so what I'll do is I'll ask our band administrator, Charles, to take that home to deal with our education department. Charles, can you do that, please, and check into it? And Summer, if you could give Charles your phone number, so if he has any questions on who you went, that'd be great. Absolutely, yeah.
There's 1.25 million square kilometers of Bennett Lieutenant territory. It's Gaia at 35
Ocean.
and we are just a little
Kuta. Kuta.
I feel reflecting me and not listening.
I've listened to you, I've written down, I don't want to argue. There's other people who have their hands up as well, so let's respect them too.
And the other question is, for medical, when we go see doctors and stuff like that, we need transportations. Like they have this medical transportation. Other reserves do. But us, we have to, take our own way, buses, and it's expensive for parking, especially the ones that do go to cancer clinics. It's an all-day thing, 8 hours sometimes. And it's for little ones too, little kids. You can't take them out on a bus on cold weather and stuff like that. So we need some sort of for transportation.
And that I'm going to put back to Charles, because these issues, we hear them at home, and we keep on pushing them to Charles, and the more we bug Charles about it, the more that can happen. We also have asked to meet with Health Canada to identify these so that they could start giving us money.
And there's another one too. Like all these monies that you guys get every year, head counted, we call it head counted, I guess. Where does it all go besides, it don't come to us, to urban people. So why is that, if we don't get it, why don't you help our people, our members with help for rent, so like what I asked earlier, and so is helping like the elders, like we need something that there should be, like I heard a lot of times in Cold Lake area, they get beds when you can't, it's, If you need a new bed, they got it. Need a new fridge, they got it. But why can't they treat us this way like that? Everybody around here. Okay, I'm done my question.
Thank you, Lena. And there's an elders program with Health Canada, and I don't know what the particulars are around that, and that's more of a Charles, again, with health, because that's where you have to have a certain amount of income to qualify for those programming. It all goes back to your, and so, and you know what, the dollars are coming from the federal government, it's to be expected, and so we just have to work with it. But our job here is to take Health Canada to task. We've been subsidizing their fiduciary responsibility by paying through the hotel from the revenue from the casino, offsetting the federal government's fiduciary responsibility by paying for the medicine for us. That's wrong.
Same with education, a lot of the shortfalls that INAC, whatever they'll cover, they cover through the FNDF, through the Casino Society and stuff like that, through the medical programs and stuff like that, that a lot of them would be covered, and you guys would qualify that for them as well. For us, as long as you're a band member, we don't dictate on who gets help or whatever, but I know what you're saying, and a lot of the programming has to be on the band, for the band members, but through the businesses and other entities, that's why we start them up to try to help out the people on the outside of the nation.
Okay. I have a question. My name is Irene Roby, and I am also part of the band, obviously. I was wondering about employment, like such as myself, a young elder, that could work some kind of office job or maybe at the casino on the reserve. Like, even though, like, we live in the urban area, and if there was some way that we could get a job out there, like part-time, and, you know, and then come back to the city and something like that as well. Because I'm pretty sure, like, such as myself, I get bored at home sometimes. And I'd like to have something to do. And I'm sure other people would like to have something else to do, you know, elders, you know, young elders that are capable or that are able to do something like that.
There is a lot of opportunity on the nation. If a person wants to work, there is work available. One of our businesses, Comac, they're looking for any truck drivers out there. So if you guys are listening or watching, for the Class 3 or Class 1, they desperately need of truck drivers. As for the hotel, I talked to the casino, pardon me. I talked to one of the members yesterday, and she told me to tell Tammy at HR that the casino is looking for band members. There is a shortage of our people working there, so just to put the call out, maybe get a hold of Tammy at HR.
Could you leave your number or your name with Charles so I can get it later?
It's Seven Lakes, and Primco Security's hiring, and there's hired for security there at the casino too also.
Oh, and to let you guys know, we are currently in September, we're finally going to get water to the nation, like on the Cold Lake side. But we did lobby for English Bay, Little English Bay, because you guys live right by the lake, and that seems to be impossible according to the government, like you guys are right there. But they should have pumped it to Bonneville first, and then they just kind of threw us in and said, well, we might as well go to the pump station. So then they went to the pump station. So as an upgrade to the pump station, they're going to start phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4 to pump the water on to the nation for housing. So they'll kind of eliminate the trucks. Travis is mad. He wants to start them on phase 4, so he'll get the water first. But there'll be opportunity there. They're going to start in September. That's probably a year-plus project. And for pipelining, any kind of people that currently want to get back to work, there's monitor jobs and stuff like that. Actually, they started, I believe, today or tomorrow. Tomorrow they're having one of the Tri-Res road grader. They're having they've been awarded a contract to do some clearing on the pipeline. It's a gas pipeline that's already been there, so it's not a big deal. It's just, I think, 22 kilometers. I believe it's a year project. And there's going to be, as one of the stipulations in the contract, that they have to employ or expend X amount of dollars for the nation. So that's a good thing. Could be work.
This is a question I have about what Georgina said earlier. About when did this policy about having a will for that you have, just like my mom, she left a holograph will for all of us to have the house, my grandma's. But Mike took it over because he's the eldest, whatever, so. But my mom did leave a holograph will, and I still have it. And we got it certified by that's her handwriting. But Mike, like, chased us off there. We don't even go there anymore, like, so. How can we fix that?
Well, those kind of issues are family issues.
Yeah.
And that's, you have to learn how to talk to your family members. Because we can't go and impose push ourselves around. That's
no,
between.
I'm not asking.
And the
that.
wills are a given. If you don't have a will, get a will, it'll get rid of all of it.
Yeah, well,
And
that's
if
what I
your mom
mean.
had given the will to name somebody, I don't know,
No,
but
she
given it
named
to
all
all
the
of you.
kids, all of us.
Yeah, I don't know how
that works, so
that
I
would
don't-
work. I'm not
yeah.
a lawyer, and I know I wouldn't want to live with all of my siblings.
I know. No, but just to go around there, I mean, like,
Yeah.
you can't even go to,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
That's
want to live with him
unfortunate.
either.
That's unfortunate that happens, and I think every family has a story.
Yeah.
And, you know, back in the day, we all lived together, we all grew up together.
Oh, yeah, that was
And
back in the day.
things, you know, and things change over time.
Mhm.
And it's too bad, sometimes it's not for the best, so I'm sorry.
Amanda, that young, okay, there you go.
What?
Let's carry on, sorry.
So my question is that I want to go back to school, but when I graduated, there was school fees, and I sent it to the reserve, but you guys said that you wouldn't pay it. But I'm treated by you guys, so I don't really understand that because I want to go to school, but I live alone and I work alone by myself. So I can't afford going to school alone by myself, and I also need a laptop. But I don't really know how that's going to work because my treaty is supposed to pay for my school, so.
So were you born after April 85?
No.
Before?
I was born in 2001.
Okay, so you're born after April 85. And there we go back to Summers Point. INAC is telling us who our people are, and they're giving you a number. Now, we have an education department, and I've been adamant saying, I don't care when they were born. They're our nation members. They get dollars for us. Therefore, they should be treated the same across the board.
Yeah.
Now, I could scream till the cows come home, but until you go and tell Charles in the corner, he's our band administrator, he can implement those changes. Unfortunately, because I don't micromanage, I can't go to housing, I can't go to health, I can't go to education and tell them what I think. I'm here to find the dollars.
Can I ask you a question? What are you, like a 461 or 46? Like there's different.
No, are you 6'1" or 6'2"?
And that shouldn't matter because you are a nation member.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to clarify it because that's the way the government is doing things, and I know it's wrong, but I'm just trying to find out which.
And I'm
number
here
you're-
to say if we come together, we could tell the INAC where the hell to go.
Yeah, so I'm not really too familiar with your situation, but talk to Charles in the back and maybe we can do something for you.
My name is George Noel, and most of you I know, your parents, your grandparents, I know them, most of them. Oh, yeah. Now, what you guys are talking about, you young people, and I'm glad that you're educated, and I'm glad that you're trying to pursue something for your children as well as your great-grandchildren to come. 150 years of, being neglected as treaty people has done a lot of harm to our people. Now, when I talk about 150 years, when you talk about the urban people here, if we don't do anything about the situation we're in today, we'll all become urban Indians. What the federal government has been pursuing for 150 years is to assimilate us. And you know something? They are succeeding. When we talk about the membership code, I wanted to share this. I came from through the back door so I can share this with you guys in Edmonton. When we talk about the membership code, how it is and how it began and where it's at today, those cards that you guys are holding, the status cards, as far as your treaty is concerned, it doesn't mean anything. The status card that you're holding today falls under the guidelines of the federal government, the Indian Act, the Bill C-31 law. Those are all the guidelines that pertain to this status card. I've been talking to Summer a few years back already. We're still in the talking stages about that. And I said, the problem is going to lie with us. We have to make a decision. Our leadership has to make that decision. Our people. You say you are sovereign. You can't be sovereign and go under the Indian Act at the same time. They do not recognize that. The choice is yours. If our grandchildren are your children, your great-grandchildren, tomorrow, if they're going to have a future, it's up to you to do something about it today. When we talk about the future, I feel very sad because I have one grandson that's not counted as a treaty member. I have great-grandchildren. There is no future for them if I don't do anything for them. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because I share the hurt that you guys went through. I went to residential school like the rest of you guys. The 60 scoops that you guys had to endure with. And then there's the child welfare. All these things come into play because we will not fight back. We're long overdue to fight back now and say that's enough, it's enough. When we talk about this thing here, I'm telling you about, do we make a choice? So either we go under the treaty or else the Indian Act. We have a choice here. And that's not much of a choice if we're going to go under the Indian Act. We're going to be controlled. Tomorrow you will not have treaties. Tomorrow we'll all be here in the urban area with you guys. You don't have to worry about monies that are coming from the reserve because we'll have no more reserves. I'm telling you this because I worry about you people, the young people, as well as my grandchildren. We have to stick our heads together with the young and the old, the educated and the elders, and decide for ourselves what we're going to do with our lives, what we're going to do for the future of our children. We have to come away from the Indian Act is what I'm telling you. Bottom line, no other way. Thank you.
I'm going to go to people that never spoke yet.
Hello, I'm Anna. Most of you know me. You were talking about the water in being piped to all places in Cold Lake, all the different little reserves. I'm wondering if you guys were considering maybe putting in our own water treatment plant, so that that can be done through ours alone. And yeah, just that for now.
Now, water treatment plant was, maybe could be brought up, that's one option that you could look up on a little English Bay, like one big English Bay. If it's not feasible to pump the water over there, what happened was the town doesn't have enough pressure, so they said to pump it all the way to where we want to build a fill station on Little eBay. So that being said, maybe in the future, if it can't be feasible, maybe we could look at building our own treatment center on that side of the nation.
And it's, he says that it's 99.9% purified water that comes through from the rivers or lakes or whatever. So that would give business also to other Indigenous people if we just bringing that up as an option.
As a feasible plan, that was part of the feasible plan, they're talking about pumping our water all the way to Frog Lake, They say the lake can stand it in their science, but, I'm kind of scared, iffy, if we have a hot summer, a drought, can our lake really handle it? So I don't think their science is absolute, but, we were included in their feasible study, so they have enough capacity with what they're doing right now to give us our needs. And the pipeline will be going right through our reserve to look at future development or whatnot, so we can build houses down that pipeline. Right now, we're paying for the water, but once that Bonnyville line is in commission, we won't be paying water anymore. And the money, yeah. And Cernak is going to help us with the development on our reserve for our water line.
We would still have to pay for that water.
We're still
regardless,
paying
yes.
for the water.
So,
At my house, I pay $150 a month to Cold Lake.
To your question there about any money specifically given to that, what we wanted to do with that was to consult with the companies who were bidding from that, because the contract was given out to make this pipeline, and since it's directly affected us, we negotiated with the successful contractor, and we'll be getting a lot of work through it. That the specific amount still has to be determined, but it will be with a substantial amount. So not only will we be getting the pipes, we'll be doing the work on our land. Jobs, exactly.
Kelsey Pipeline, and I'm not affiliated with them.
Kelsey Pipelines, yes.
And just a brief background to how that came to be. A few years ago, they made a deal, the water organization out of Bonnyville, the city of Cold Lake, the province of Alberta, they did whatever they do, and they said, okay, we're going to run water to Bonnyville. We're going to build that pipeline. They used Cold Lake First Nations name in there as well. And so that went on. So when we got in, we called them to task about it. How dare you use Cold Lake First Nations and we get nothing out of it? I think we had 2 employees that worked with Site Energy who got the contract. And so whoever we can jump on, you can guarantee we're going to be jumping on them so that we can see it done right. But in those deals, they had already said Frog Lake is going to get running water from Cold Lake, and they were going to bypass us. And so now they're running a brand-new line into the school, and English Bay and Little Cold Lake, the rest of the houses that don't have running water, they're being identified as well.
Another reason why we want to input on that water line is they're having issues with the one that they just built. We want to make sure that it's done properly, and we don't want to have any issues, because I told them at the end of the day, we have to be there for our lifetime. You guys are just going to come in. We don't want a shoddy product where we have to fix it in 5 years or something. So quality control is one of our big things on that one.
Yeah, because line wasn't built proper, and Bonneville's asking for more money before it goes in commission, so, you know, they're having problems there.
In the back there?
Hi, everybody. My name is Mervyn Grambwa. For the people that want to get laptops, you can apply at the city, and at the end of every year, they change all the laptops in the city from every office. So they have thousands and thousands of computers that they give away every year. So all of you can just apply to the city, and you'll get a laptop. It's simple, but a lot of you don't know that, so I just thought I'd bring that information forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mervyn.
I just had a question. Is it our companies that's going to do the clear cutting?
Yes, Tri-Res.
Do you know if
Not clear cut, just kind of it's not very much of a clearing of it, because it's pretty well through farmers' fields, but there is a little
okay.
bit of cutting, so.
Okay, I was just wondering if you had any elders going out there, like if there's
Actually,
any...
yes, there were supposed to be monitors. That was one of the main stipulations of that. There were supposed to be some monitors. So I believe the lands department was going to take care of that. If any of you wanted to go look at a job, maybe, a monitor,
The
sit on the line.
applications were put to HR. They
And,
have-
and
so-
whatever trees are cut down, they're coming back to the reserve too, so.
We put in a proposal to run right to Beacon Hill, the other side of Pierce Line, to do the monitoring. So they'll have one environmental, so you know anybody who's taken environmental training, and plus there'll be an elder with you as well.
Just a quick question with regards to what I've been doing. I made a big stink just about, well, the pipeline, where the people that oppose it, like the people that oppose it, they do have a right. And we can put it on our Cold Lakes First Nation page, the people that do oppose it. But I'm wondering, with my initiative, can I get support? I owe like $600 in fines to get my license. Or is it possible that maybe the nation pay for that so that I can get started with my initiative?
You need a driver's training, you mean, a license?
I have $600 in fines.
Oh, you want us to pay your fines?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Okay, well, because this is the initiative that I've been working on, like protecting youth, women, and making awareness brought out for the past 11 years.
And that's
I'm
really-
opposing the Indian agent and the whole pipeline altogether. So there are people that oppose it. You can't just go ahead. They're not going to build through Secwepemc and all those territories.
If you're going to be a role model for the youth, then be responsible.
I just want to comment on the drivers, you know, people that owe alimony, child support payments. There is ways to get your license through Tribal Chief Ventures, and, you know, we can help you get your license so you can get your license and drive and start making payments.
Yeah, I believe if you make contact with some of our social services, they can help you build that map on how to get to where it is, or with that resource there. And I'm sure if you talk to our administrator, Charles, we can direct you in the right way so you can get that proper help you need for sure.
I just remembered what my other one was. I've been doing some research into ways that, for my own healing with my diabetes, and I found HBOT, which is hyperbaric oxygen therapy, is helpful for healing the wounds and stuff. And I noticed that Health Canada will pay for HBOT therapy if you've got open, gaping wounds already that aren't healing and stuff like it. Basically, your legs have to be practically falling off before they'll pay for it. And I'm wondering if we can do something about maybe asking them to let us have access to that when the problem is much earlier, so that we can get back to full health rather than putting little Band-Aids on to make sure that we don't die as quickly. So how would we go about accessing that? Like I said, for me to apply for them to cover that cost, for me to get the hyperbaric oxygen therapy, when I have the diabetes, but my legs aren't falling off yet.
I think that question would be best answered by our health department. I don't know the specifics of that program or how it is funded, but our health department would have the best knowledge on how to do that before it becomes an issue, right? You don't want it to become neglected or feel like it's not there, because if any of us know if something is wrong, we're going to go fix it. But if someone tells us, no, you're not wrong, nothing's wrong, you feel helpless at that point. And of course, we want to be able to help, and I believe our health department would better be able to put you in the right direction, at least.
That, or you could talk to Charles, see if it's covered under the other sources of funding. Yeah, 'cause I know there are some specialties that were funded before.
Yeah, you can talk to Kim Machadas, and I know if you pay for it, you can probably get it refunded through a subsidy to the casino.
There was a question brought up by Lena with regard to, is there any possible way that we could get assistance for rent and stuff? Because my rent is $800, and from what I understand, the people on the reserve don't pay rent. I don't know, but that's pretty steep for myself, and I'm just wondering if there's anything in place where even just a small amount, because there are some people that are subsidized, but a lot of us aren't. And this doesn't even include my utilities, and it's just a bachelor suite. So.
Because maybe that's something I can bring back to my council. Maybe we can put some kind of fund in there, like emergency assistance. Because, yeah, every time we have emergency assistance, the money gets used up really fast. So maybe it's something I can take away from this meeting.
Can you
and
bring
talk
me
to my
some
colleagues.
fish too, please?
Okay, I'll stop being lazy then. Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely something we could look into for sure.
Okay.
Definitely look into it for
We'll
sure.
look into it. Okay. Sorry for my French.
Hi. Another question I had was DNA classes. Is there anything being offered here? For anything?
I'm not too sure about that. I know we
Maybe-
have them back home, but.
Say that again? I didn't hear.
For the DNA classes?
Well, right now,
Language.
they're taking all our elders and using them to redefine the English dictionary, which I totally disagree with. But that's how things are funded, and it's just convoluted.
You're talking about that program there, that Dennis Eddy you're talking about, right?
Hi, my turn?
I just want to say, first of all, say thank you to the chief and council for being here, and being a listening ear to those of us that are sitting here today. I've been listening to a lot about what's been going on. There's been a lot of stuff that has been brought forward, and which a lot of it is very interesting. Some of it, and I know some of it we can work on, and some of it is kind of beyond our control at this time. So, and that's just the way it is. But I just want to make a response to Anne in regards to HVAC. Being in the healthcare field, I know that it's very specialized medical procedure that. And it's usually done out when, like you said, when it's the final, that's the last option that we have. And I know that working in the healthcare field, what we try to do is we try to encourage the individual to follow up with the doctors like there's programs and regimes that they can follow. So it is, HVAC is something that's fairly new. So I don't know if it's still up, if it would be covered yet through non-insured. So it's just one of those things that are new. So, and a lot more, they're probably looking at it a lot more to determine how we would benefit the most from it. That's just because in the healthcare field, that's just something that I'm just kind of a little bit familiar with. But also, the nurse in me, I was looking at your schedule, your agenda that you did mention about, you do have COVID-19 response. And I know that you've been putting out daily videos to say what's been happening, what your processes were in regards to the plan for COVID for First Nations. What have do you have anything for those of us that don't live on the reserve? And what is what is the COVID response for those of us that are here?
Every man for themselves.
Yeah.
No, we're just kidding. But,
hand washing?
I know we've been fortunate and lucky back home that we never had any cases yet, knock on wood. But our neighboring nations have, Sad Lake, Kihiwin, reported some, and Goodfish. So, you know, we've been doing our best, and we didn't meet on that in case of the second wave or worst case scenario. There is a case that comes up. In that case, we'll put up our precautions again, put up our checkpoints, security checkpoints, more of a monitor of who comes and goes and stuff like that. But other than that, we've been doing the best we can. And as for off members, if you are tested or if you do test or whatever and you've got to be at home, I believe there is still some gift cards available for members, that stuff like that. And I know there's still some services through the EOC team that are still available through, just call the nation, talk to Pam. She might have more information on what's available out there. But like I said, we've been just doing our best and just hopefully people stay safe.
Okay, and the other thing was, in the beginning, you had mentioned about an elders lodge and like a facility for special needs as well too. Is it just like right now you're just in the planning
We're just
phase?
talking with it.
Phase.
Yes, I met on Friday last week with Tribal Chief Ventures with the other chiefs. We met with some health. I have the information at home. We met with some. They provide all that service, so it's just the initial stage of it. Because of the growing number, and the Alberta government wants to get involved and start helping First Nations with this initiative. So that's one thing that we looked at, and we just, right now it's in the preliminary stage. It is going to go, and one of the thing was, a lot of our members live here in the city, along with a lot of their other band, their chiefs, their members, they live in the city too. So we're just looking at a place in the city. I know there's one, but it's small. That was what they brought up last week. There is a place in Edmonton, I believe on Fort Road, but it's pretty small. So they're looking at that one. So.
And it's like guaranteed funding for 25 years. So you're talking about Elders Lodge, so there'll be attached funding to it. And maybe I want to get Mervyn to talk about language, because they do develop a program through Blue Quills, but there's not enough students registered there. So maybe Mervyn would talk about that, because he is a registered student there, and he's looking for other people that want to learn our language.
Hi, everybody. I'm taking a course through Blue Quills University. It's a Bachelor of Arts in Denisukliné, and it's our dialect, Cold Lake First Nations dialect. Because there's only me registered this year, I'm not going to be able to take it. No. You have to be right there. It's right on reserve. Yeah, on reserve. Lena went to it too.
Months, I believe. I think it's for 6 months or 5 months. And I was funded through that, what do you call the one in that, I forget the...
Free horse?
No.
Otanow?
Otanow, yeah. You can get funded for things like that, but you have to ask the band so they can be able to fund you.
And I know there were funding students who went to Blue Quills to take the language program.
Yeah.
Through the education department.
Mm-hmm.
But you had to physically be there.
Yeah, you have to live there.
Yeah.
You know, George Noel brought up a good comment there about, you know, the language is key. You know, it's something that, you know, even, you know, I talk with a lot of people, even back home on the reserve, you know, how, you know, when we lose an elder on a reserve, our language becomes that much weaker, and it really affects the community. And I don't even know how many there are today that can speak fluent Dene. And, you know, George brought that up, and that's something that we need to look into, is how can we sustain our language, not just within our community at home, but here in the urban area too. You know, the lady at the back there brought up a good comment there about maybe there's, I know we have something set up there at Concordia. Maybe there's some way we can initiate like an online class through Blue Quills to, you know, people just, in today's world now, you could just go online and you can literally, you know, learn right off the TV and just kind of take it that way. But yeah, it's something that, you know, I was talking with my son there the other day about his background and where he comes from, and he asked me that question because we just finished watching that movie, Indian Horse, but he was asking me about residential schools and how that impacted not just him, but all of us within our traditional territory. And, you know, it's impacting us big time, and I like what George brought up, and you know, we have to do something, and we have to come together as First Nations people to get that back, and our cultural ways are immense. Thank you.
I was just wondering if anybody here knows how to, if I write a letter in English, and if they can differentiate it to Dene. Anyone?
Irene Charlin, she lives in Westlock, Merithorpe. She can.
Okay. Can I get some kind of contact information from her? Because I have a letter, I sent that same one about education to Julie Payette, and I was never answered about it, but I know somebody who's going to be speaking to the UN on Friday, and they're going to bring that letter up to the UN to tell them that Canada's not holding the treaties up.
That is so awesome. I'm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Summer, for doing all of that stuff. Is it part of your education program, or are you just feisty?
I just, like, I look at life like this. I'm on my ground, I don't have my mom. A lot of my family are lost. And all I have is my kids. And, you know, that's basically it. So I don't really have anything left. So I just, you know, that's a fight in me, just to see my kids to have a good life. You know, try to make it for the best.
And part of our healing is knowing where we come from. So I honor you.
Send you some hugs there, Summer.
in reference to the language thing, I'm pretty sure that at the university they have a Dene Soufflene program there.
At the Concordia?
Anymore.
No, at the U of A.
Not, they don't have one?
Not anymore?
No.
Oh,
But
okay.
we have a nation member, Val Wood. She's a linguistics, and she's got her degree from there. And she helps teach people how to speak it.
Okay, and in reference also to how we can get our language learned through wherever we are, I bought a book. It's actually from Deneta, and they have old stories, and they wrote it in Dene, and they wrote it in English. And then in the back, they've got a CD or a DVD you can put into the computer. And they have all of the different, they put it in letters, the sounds. And they have somebody that makes the sounds for you. And then you can just click on it to hear it again. And then you can do that all the way through. They have it on the book also on the computer thing. And you can click on each word, and they can say the word for you, and then you can learn that way.
There's an app available that Linda Manus and Agnes Gendron worked on. So
But
that's
I'm
Dene
finding-
Soufflene.
Yeah.
That's our language.
And the thing that I have an issue about that with is, like I said, on this book with the CD, it has all of the different sounds so that you know how to say that sound. And with our app, it just has the words, and I can't hear
Yeah.
clearly what that is and how to say it.
Yeah, the only thing with Deneta, they're going to have a different dialect.
Yeah.
And it won't be the Dene Soufflene.
Yeah, and what it said in the book was that Deneta, or whichever one it is that I have there, I'm pretty sure it's Deneta, but it's the closest to the Dene Soufflene from Cold Lake that they'll find anywhere. But
Yeah, the thing
it's-
now
it's
with-
not, it's not the same, but it's the closest in the whole Dene group of languages.
Well, Dene Soufflene means the original people, and our language, what they've identified, and this was part of Val's program back in the day, that we're surrounded all by Cree people, so that means that our language is intact more so than anybody. You just have to go to Dylan Laloche. They have that slang, and we don't have that.
The thing with language now, especially with it being so intertwined with the things that have happened to make us forget it, it's come to a new time where technology is growing, and we need new ways to learn how to learn our language. We need new ways to do that because the ways we used to learn our language are no longer here. We no longer are stuck in a cabin in the north with our grandpa for the whole winter, for him teaching us stories, and that's almost non-existent now. We have to find different ways to be able to teach our language and to preserve it as well, because I don't know exact amount, but it's under 200 or 300 elders that are fluent in the language that have been identified. And once that's gone, or it hasn't been passed, where do you get it, right? It's not like our language is written down somewhere. It's notoriously oral history. One thing that we've identified for a learning tool with this actually came from Charles with the university he works with. They're working on a artificial intelligence that is able to converse with you back and forth as it happens, so that language will be alive. It won't be just on the paper, and you'll have to figure out how to pronounce it and then figure out how to make sense of it. It'll all be there once you know how to have some words. It'll talk back to you. See, those are the types of things we have to consider with today's technology and how to learn our language. It absolutely does change, but those are the things being considered.
Yeah, and that's concerning like the AI thing. This is a step towards that. This CD with the different sounds that you can click on, learn it, and then apply it to different words.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about this particular form of learning, is that you learn the sound and then you learn it in a word. And you learn it in more than one word. You learn it in like about 4 different words. And it's a really intuitive way of learning for me anyway. It's the best way of learning that I found. So that's why I brought it up and suggested it as a possibility, because they've already got, what is it, at least 4 children's books written in that style.
Yeah, and I think they just have one through, I think Gina had mentioned it there, through that Linda's language program there. They actually, she brought it up to me as the story of how they found the Blackman that became introduced to Cold Lake. They made a book about that, children's book, and that is absolutely the medium we need to go to, because people need different ways to learn nowadays. Absolutely.
I'm really glad you said that, Dion. Yeah, I went to Lac Berger a few years ago, and it was like a culture shock to me. You know, that's what I would really like to see, like a student exchange. Some of our people going up there, and bringing some of the people down here. Because all the young people were just speaking. I was amazed. So if we can have some of our people go up there for a week, a few weeks, just to see how they live, and bring a couple of their members over here to show us how we live. Because our Dene people are just one big country within a country. So.
I just had a question for Anna. And you stated that Denet'a, you said Denet'a, is that from Assumption? Is that what that region? Okay, they're Denet'a, they're Slavey. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's just that I have friends that are they're Slavey, but if I listen to them really good, I could figure out what they're talking about. It's just like they cut the word in half. But if you listen to them, like I talk fluently, so I understood what they're saying. One thing I like to say, I like to thank Sandra for the opening prayer, because prayer is very important. And end of the day, the prayer is very important too. So in saying that, I listened to all what you guys address here today. It is very difficult to live in a city, I know that. I live in how many cities in my lifetime already? From Vancouver all the way to Lethbridge, from Fort McMurray, Edmonton, Red Deer, you name it. And I know how it is to be financially strapped, especially when you got kids. You always have to stretch your dollar. And at the end of the day, sometimes you don't even have enough for a grub. I know that too. So by listening to you people's voices today, yes, it shows you love your children very much, and you don't want your children to starve. You know what I do when I was chief for how many years? I've been in leadership for a long time, but I like to say I went out of my way to help the people here in Edmonton. I meet them in places, or I pick them up to buy groceries. I'm not bragging, but my heart goes out to the people. I've been doing that for how many years? Paying for their rent because they got kicked out right after Christmas. I went on my way, paid for their rent. But as a leader, I know we have many, many different hats. One day we feel like we're a counselor. One day we feel like a banker. One day we feel like a social worker, a health worker. We have many hats. But I'd like to thank my colleagues for working together here today to be where we are at today. It was a great struggle. at times. What has really put our people down, I'll tell you, by reading history, by listening to the elders, what has been passed down. It wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy journey for them, especially when they got taken out of Primrose Land. That was their homes, and they put into this little reserve where there's a land of slough. There's a lot of water in our reserves. And the next thing, in 1940, they gave people permits to go off the reserve. They couldn't get off the reserve just like that. They needed a permit. And then the 60 scoop, residential school in the 60 scoop. What really went down in 1962 when they opened the liquor for us. 1962, we were all became very dysfunctional. Our parents. You know what today? What is happening today is they're taking our babies as soon as they're born, right from the hospital. That's what's happening today. It already happened. That one baby here right now is at Misericordia. The mother didn't even see the baby yet. Those kind of things that's happening today. When I read history, when I think about it, the government's been fighting us since the day we signed treaty. And I was told by 2050, there's not going to be no more treaty Indians. That's 30 years from now. We have to prepare here. We have to work together. You young ones are going to be carrying the torch in the future. We're going to be depending on you. Listen to our voices at times. Because tomorrow we don't know what's going to happen to our children. The children unborn to come, we do not know what's going to become of them. We have to have a voice for them. We have to be the leaders in our own families. Yesterday is yesterday. Today's today. Tomorrow's tomorrow. But today, what we have, we're very happy what we have because we can still walk here on Mother Earth. We could still see. We could still do something here, and we got to start now. Yes, the leadership here, we try our best every which way. But it's you, the people, will have to work together collectively with us. Let's see.
Said this over the Facebook group. Now, what I'm concerned about is why you guys aren't saying no to the government. Just say no, no, no more. This belongs to us, this land belongs to us, the money belongs to us, and we start building our own. That we have the diamonds, we have the uranium, we have the water, we have all these resources. And you guys are just going and playing this stupid little game with them, and you're buying into it. It's just say no more. It's me that has to freaking, I'm sorry, Gina, but I voted you in and I feel disrespected by you. And it is your generation, your group of Karens that are messing up this world today. I don't want to see my children saying no to or don't talk and talk when you're spoken to or that has to end. It is our generation, my kids' generation that have to live. You guys stop making decisions for us. I'm tired of this. You guys have to say no, no more. You are our administration, and you have to educate yourselves too. Just say no more. I'm tired. And you can go ahead and judge me, but I have a world of pain. And they should support us.
Okay, we'll just close it.
Okay, I have thought I'm supported by somebody, I voted in.
You'll understand. But we as peoples, I'm starting to come back to the band. I felt like I was tossed out because of the white man. And I'm coming back here to want to know my people again. I have to learn stuff all over again. And I'm proud to know I know a lot of these people most of my life. And I'm proud to know them. And I'm proud to be home. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to give prayers to the people out there. We had one of our members pass in Calgary in the home. You know, it's not a very nice place for a person to pass. You know, and the homeless people too. You know, I gave my jacket off my back to one of our members. They're sleeping in the tent tonight. You know, and it's not too late to spread the love. You know, pay it forward. You know, we still woke up in the morning. But I think we're going to close this meeting now because we only have the room till 7:30. So I don't know if my colleagues have any closing remarks, but I just thought I'd say that. Okay, go ahead, Grace.
I'd like to say, invite you over for tea, coffee sometime. Anybody? Like us here in the city here, we don't get to see you guys. You guys are probably go visiting over there in every home and everything else. But you haven't seen my home. You haven't seen a lot of the people's home. So you got our phone number over there. Give us a call. And for sure you can come and have some tea and some bannock and whatnot. Thank you.
I miss your band there, Grace.
In closing, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming out. Like I said at the beginning of this meeting, we work for you guys, so your input is very vital for us moving forward together as a nation. Like I said, George is here to get some names, and with the elders, we could all work together because your direction is, and all of you, your opinions mean a lot to us sitting here at this table, and without the guidance of the elders, we're lost. So like you said, moving forward, we got to think of the old ways of, I remember where the old ways of my dad taught me and my grandparents and all that, and those are happy times back then. It seems like as we grew up, people got money, people grew apart, people started getting mad at each other. That's not the person I am. That's not the person that I grew up. That wasn't who I was raised to be. But I really like and respect to have all my elders' input to come and help us to make it better for tomorrow. Thank you.
And just to reiterate off that, we are all elders in the making. So each and every one of your voices matter.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of add to what Roger said too. You know, it all goes back to our roots, where we all come from, and I guess it's up to each individual to do your own, figure out your grassroots, do your own research on your own families and stuff like that. A lot of people have lost a lot of family that they don't know who or where they are. You know, I've lost family members that don't even live in Canada, and you know, they called me back, and you know, it's kind of tough to find out that in a hard way. But like I said, it's something we need to do, and we need to come together as a community and as First Nations people, and I think we're going to get there. Thank you.
I just got one final note. If any elders are interested in becoming part of the elders group, can you leave your name with Charles? Your name and number? Thanks.
And if any of you are interested in the housing committee, leave your name with Charles as well, because that'll be a big one too.
Thank you guys all for coming. I just want to let you guys know I really appreciate it, and it's been a year for me and obviously the rest of us, but it's really nice to see everyone come together again. I keep saying it, and we don't have enough opportunities for this. And like I think his name is Farron. Are we going to make this monthly or something? I want to make this more consistent. I want to make it so that these meetings are specified towards something, because 3 hours is not enough time to talk about the issues that we have. especially issues specifically affecting Edmonton people here. And if we're here more, we have more input for you guys, from you guys that we can take back. Especially, these are the times we can bring everyone together, bring everyone to get connected and not be separated by all the roads and the buildings that we have here. This is the collection of our family. If you look around, we're all related. And this is the time to meet and make these connections so that they last until next time. And then you can see how it grows. And then everyone will have a better outlook knowing that they have family around here. I know, like Bernice said, it's tough around here. I lived here for a little bit, and it can be draining and mentally exhausting for people. But if you know you can reach out to somebody and they'll take you in, like she said, come over for tea, Babanik. That's what's good for our soul. And if that's there for us, then we have another day to look forward to. But I really appreciate you guys all coming and making this possible for us to get this input from you guys. We can't get anywhere else.
Thank you. Marcy. Marcy. Somebody, okay, we'll do the closing prayer.
Sandra?
Sandra, you want to do
Sandra?
the closing? Closing prayer?